Hurricane Melissa is due to hit Jamaica later this morning, bringing winds of 175 miles per hour, and it's been classified as a Category 5 storm, the highest possible alert level. It is the strongest storm the world has seen so far this year. US meteorologists are warning of catastrophic and life-threatening winds, flooding and storm surges. The storm has already been blamed for 7 deaths in the Caribbean. Well, this is the live scene in Negril on the west coast of Jamaica. Of course, it's the night time there. The hurricane could be, though, the strongest one to hit the Caribbean island since records began. Officials say 3 people have already died setting up defences for their homes, while an estimated 50,000 people are without power. Next, we'll see a satellite image from Zoom Earth, which shows the trajectory of the hurricane, which you can see is approaching Jamaica right now. It is then expected to head towards Cuba and the Bahamas. In preparation for the hurricane to hit the northern Caribbean, a crew of US Air Force pilots known as hurricane hunters flew through the eye of the storm on a reconnaissance mission to gain critical data on the strength of the winds. And overnight, Jamaica's Meteorological Service warned of potential significant rainfall and flash flooding.
Mostly central and eastern parishes would be inundated by the heaviest rainfall that would get up to 30 inches. We're talking about 750 millimeters of rainfall. We're not accustomed to measuring that. I'm not even too sure if our rain gauges will fully be able to deal with that kind of capacity before they are renewed. But we, of course, will make every effort to provide the best data after the event as possible. But here we see the heavy rainfall producing significant flooding, and this will be over most of the island.
Well, let's have a word now with author Kwame McPherson, who is in Jamaica's capital, Kingston. Kwame, really appreciate you joining us. You have a smile on your face, which hopefully tells us that you're not too concerned. But what is the situation there right now?
Thank you for having me. Well, the situation, I don't know if you can actually hear the rain actually falling at the moment and the wind. So we're getting the outer bands as Melissa approaches, and yeah, we expect it to be a devastating hurricane, actually.
I mean, appreciate it's 1 in the morning there, so
yes,
glad you're staying up late. But I mean, would you have been able to sleep anyway with Melissa on the way?
Well, funny enough, it's the rain that woke me up, and plus I had this interview. But it's very heavy. Unfortunately for where I am, I'm safe, and you know, everything's holding up. For a lot of people, the concern obviously is the flooding. We do have areas which are flood prone, especially because I'm in Kingston. So we have areas which are flood prone, and people have been advised to evacuate those places. There are 3 of those places that actually people have been advised to evacuate. So in the main, and probably in the country also, we're going to have a lot of damage, because with Melissa being this powerful as she is, more powerful than back in 1988 when we had Gilbert, there will be a lot of immense damage. We expect that.
Yes, winds of 175 miles per hour, which, Kwame, is almost unfathomable. I mean, we were talking in advance of this yesterday, 150, but now it's gone up, and we're seeing pictures of the eye of the storm on the screen right now. I guess everyone's just bracing themselves, are they? Are people helping each other out with their defences too?
Well, for the time being, actually, no one should actually be outside, really, because we had forewarning. The government have been very excellent, and the agencies have been wonderful in terms of the information that they've shared. We had a lot of press briefings, a lot of posting on social media. A lot of the agencies have had contact details. So the information was out there for at least about a week, 2 weeks before, prior to Melissa actually coming through the Caribbean. So we were forewarned, so people actually had the time and the chance to do what they needed to do in order to make sure that they were prepared. Unfortunately, the deaths that occurred were actually those people probably were late in doing so, like cutting down trees, and I know that one of the deaths, a tree fell on someone, and that's unfortunate in that regard. But in the main, we were given a lot of information by the government, who have led wonderfully in terms of sharing with the public about what we need to be doing and how we should be doing it.
How would you, Kwame, sum up the mood of Jamaicans, given that you've mentioned previous storms that people remember, that you know Jamaica has had earthquakes in the past as well, so it's not without experience of potential disasters. But how are people reacting?
In the main, we are a very, a cool, very calm and collected people. We don't tend to panic. Even with Melissa, we had, I saw a clip on the news of a birthday party and people dancing in the rain celebrating the person's birthday. So we do have a sense of, all right, bring it on, Melissa, and they will deal with it. But we do also have those individuals who won't leave their homes because, for whatever reason, in terms of they're afraid of looting and that kind of stuff. But in the main, a lot of Jamaicans have taken on board, and we do support each other. This a time like this, not only locally but the diaspora also tends to support immediately. Even before a request is made, there's a lot of help and support, and we do help each other in times like these. And I saw also another clip on the news earlier today where an elderly person had someone come and stay with them, so because they couldn't move or they couldn't leave where they were staying. So we do support each other at times like these. We do come out. We're very resilient and resourceful people at times like these.
It's good to hear. Let's talk about the wider Caribbean, Kwame, because inevitably, if something affects Jamaica, it's going to affect other countries as well. And it looks like the course of Melissa will head towards Cuba. Now, Cuba is in a whole different state, of course. It's suffered tragedy after tragedy. It's incredibly impoverished. It's going to be much harder, you would expect, for people there, isn't it?
It will be. But one of the things I can say about the Caribbean is, again, not only do we do it locally, but throughout the entire region, we tend to come together and support each other. So, for example, I saw the Prime Minister of Grenada and the Prime Minister from Barbados, and the whole CARICOM has come together in terms of supporting Jamaica, and we will do the same for Cuba. So even though, as we're aware, Cuba, as you said, are impoverished for whatever reason, but we will, as Caribbean people, we support each other, and Cuba will always get support from the other countries within the Caribbean. And Haiti, for example, Haiti will also be affected by this, but again, we all pull together and support each other as a region does.
Yes, Haiti really has had its more than its fair share of problems as well. Kwame, back to you. What the next few hours entail? What's the plan? Are you going to try and get some sleep? Are you going to stay up and wait? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm an author. I'm a writer, so to tell you the truth, I'll be writing until I'm ready to fall asleep. But it is like I said. I don't know if you can hear the rain and it's windy. So it's kind of difficult to really sleep at this time. But so for me, I'm just going to probably end up writing.
Okay, well, that is a calm way of dealing with what's coming. But I suppose it's what you do, so why wouldn't you carry on doing it?
Yeah. And like I said, we have experienced hurricane before, not this powerful, but I guess the experience of us going through this, like battening down, stocking up with food, making sure that we were well prepared to face Melissa makes it easier in that sense to deal with, And they say experience teaches wisdom, and I guess we're pretty wise when it comes to dealing with hurricanes.
Listen, Kwame, we really appreciate your time, especially as it's just gone 1 a.m. there. Perhaps you and I can speak again this time tomorrow. If you're still up, I mean, you may well be too exhausted, but maybe we can speak.
Because by then, Melissa would have gone, and we can. She should be going away by tomorrow afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. So
hopefully, it'll pass, and you'll be fine and dandy. But I hope we can speak tomorrow and discuss how it went.
Totally.
All right, Kwame, appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is our science correspondent Thomas Moore to talk more about this. The numbers, Thomas, are jaw-dropping. Winds of up to 175 miles per hour. It's hard to comprehend that.
It is, yes, and that's around the wall of the eye where you get the strongest winds, but that continues for about 30 miles out on either side. So it's quite a large area of Jamaica that is going to be affected by those extremely strong winds. But even beyond that, the tropical storm force winds, which can reach 70, 80 miles an hour, that extends for 200 miles on either side. So you can see how this is going to have devastating impact across a region where infrastructure may not be that strong, particularly in rural communities, which are likely to be badly affected. The Prime Minister has talked about there is no infrastructure in the region that will withstand a Category 5 storm. So you can see people who are sheltering in place are going to be badly affected by this. Now, what is this likely to do? Well, you're talking about power cuts that last not just a few hours, but days, maybe even weeks.
And there's
before.
already 50,000 people, I think, without power now in anticipation of Melissa.
Yeah, and this would be a big concern because it's going to take aid agencies days to reach these areas if there have been mudslides from the heavy rain that's being predicted, and to get into those areas where help is most needed. Now, the storm track looks to have shifted west overnight. So people are talking about that it's going to make landfall in the parish of St Elizabeth and then move diagonally northeast and exit Jamaica at St Anne's Parish. Now, that would mean that it would go between Kingston, the capital, and Montego Bay. But all these areas could be affected, and they're going to be. It's going to take them months to get back up on stream.
And when these things hit, they live long in the memory, live for years afterwards. I was talking to Kwame earlier on, who was remarkably calm given the circumstances, smile on his face. Even so, he mentioned Hurricane Gilbert, which was back in the late 80s, 1988. That was a Category 5 hurricane as well. It kind of suggests that people remember these. They also potentially remember how to try and deal with them.
Yes, although Jamaica doesn't get hit by that many hurricanes despite its position. So this is unusual, particularly, of course, this Category 5. These are the strongest winds in its history. There's been nothing of this strength to hit Jamaica. But you can see its size there from the map. I mean, you can't even see Jamaica, can you? It's just there underneath that mass of cloud. And they're talking about rainfall up to a metre in some areas because that storm is moving at, walking pace. So you're going to have persistent heavy rain that lasts for days. And you can already see what looks to be some flooding there. That is going to get a lot worse.
And it's not just bad for Jamaica, because if we see that path, it's going to affect other poorer countries in the Caribbean too. Yes,
absolutely. I mean, even when it exits Jamaica, next the island to Lions Path is Cuba. It's likely to be weaker by the time it makes landfall there, but nevertheless, it will still pack a punch. And these are really poor countries where the infrastructure is not strong, where power lines are above ground, not below, and therefore they will be torn down as these winds screech across the land. So it is going to take the aid agencies a long time to reach those who need it the most. Now, really, they are very concerned about Norman Manley International Airport in Jamaica because it lies on the south coast, so it will feel the full force of these 4-metre storm surges that are being predicted there, the increase in sea level. Now, the runway is just 3 metres above sea level. Now, if that is under a metre of water, even when the hurricane has gone, how quickly does that water dissipate? How quickly can they get aid flights, doctors, emergency teams on the ground who haven't been able to get in since the airport closed over the weekend? That is going to be a huge concern.
Those satellite images are just mesmerising, aren't they? The scale of it, when you see it from space, is just awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I don't mean that in a good way, of course. Thomas, really appreciate you being here. I know you'll keep an eye on things throughout the morning as Melissa approaches. But there you go. You just get a sense of the vastness of this storm, a Category 5 storm. They don't come around too often, but really Jamaica is bracing itself, as is the rest of the Caribbean. For now, thanks very much indeed. You are watching Breakfast. Good morning, good to have you with us. Hurricane Melissa is expected to hit Jamaica in the coming hours, bringing winds of up to 175 miles per hour. It's been classified as a Category 5 storm, the highest possible alert level, and is the strongest storm the world has seen so far this year. American meteorologists are warning of catastrophic and life-threatening winds, flooding and storm surge. The storm has already been blamed for 7 deaths in the Caribbean. This is the live scene in Negril, which is on the west coast of Jamaica, and the hurricane could be the strongest one to hit the Caribbean island since records began. Officials say 3 people have died so far, setting up their defences for their homes, while an estimated 50,000 people are without power. We can show you a satellite image from Zoom Earth as well, which shows the trajectory of the hurricane, which you can see is approaching Jamaica now. It's then expected to head towards Cuba and the Bahamas and maybe even skirt Haiti as well. In preparation for the hurricane to hit the Northern Caribbean, a crew of US Air Force pilots that are known as the Hurricane Hunters flew through the eye of the storm on a reconnaissance mission to gain critical data on the strength of the winds. And overnight, Jamaica's Meteorological Service warned of potential significant rainfall and flash floods.
Mostly central and eastern parishes would be inundated by the heaviest rainfall that would get up to 30 inches. We're talking about 750 millimeters of rainfall. We're not accustomed to measuring that. I'm not even too sure if our rain gauges will fully be able to deal with that kind of capacity before they are renewed. But we, of course, will make every effort to provide the best data after the event as possible. But here we see the heavy rainfall producing significant flooding, and this will be over most of the island.
With me now with the latest is our science correspondent, Thomas Moore. Thomas, impossible to overstate this one. It's huge.
It is a vast storm and extremely strong. If you look at the satellite photos, you can't even see the island beneath the dense cloud. And that cloud, of course, is carrying all that rain that we just heard about. Can be up to a metre in some elevated areas. But it is the winds too, 175 miles close to the eye of the storm. And those strong winds extend for 30 miles either side. But even beyond that, you're looking at wind speeds of 70, 80 miles an hour for 200 miles. And you can see the lightning there just sparking all the way around, particularly there in the eye itself. And the meteorologists are extremely concerned. Also, the Prime Minister saying there is no infrastructure in the region. It's to the west of the island now, a rural area. No infrastructure in the region that can withstand a Category 5 storm. So huge worries there.
When you see the scale from space, it is really awe-inspiring and terrifying, obviously, but awe-inspiring as well. Given the size of this, Thomas, given what you just said about the lack of infrastructure, but you wonder what infrastructure could cope with 175 mile per hour winds, how much damage is it expected to cause? Well,
you're looking about rural communities that will be knocked over, and no other way of describing it. And many people are trying to shelter in place, and that is a big concern. So you're looking at areas without power for possibly days, if not weeks, difficulties for aid agencies to get water and food to those areas. And also the international airport in Kingston, that is only just above sea level in the direct path of the storm surges that they have been talking about hitting the south coast. Now, that would mean that they would have difficulty getting aid teams and doctors onto the island.
Thomas, stay there, because I want to show people something that happened earlier on. We spoke to Kwame McPherson, who is an author and lives in Jamaica's capital, Kingston. We checked in on him a bit earlier on.
For a lot of people, the concern obviously is the flooding. We do have areas which are flood prone, especially because I'm in Kingston. So we have areas which are flood prone, and people have been advised to evacuate those places. There are 3 of those places that actually people have been advised to evacuate. So in the main and probably in the country also, we're going to have a lot of damage, because with Melissa being this powerful as she is, more powerful than back in 1988 when we had Gilbert, there will be a lot of immense damage. We expect that.
Kwame, I have to say, was remarkably calm given things, and obviously staying up late for us, given that it's, just gone 2 in the morning in Jamaica. People will inevitably ask Thomas, given the hottest summer on record that we've just had, how this is related to climate change?
Well, those high global temperatures are translating into high sea surface temperatures, and it is the warm water, the highest recorded in that area for the time of year, which is really driving these winds. Now, the water is around 2 degrees warmer than normal, and the organisation Climate Central says the odds of such warm water have been increased by at least 500 times because of human-caused global warming. Had it not been for that, this would have been a weaker Category 4 storm. And this is the third Category 5 storm of the Atlantic season, which lasts from June until September, and only 2005 has had more such strong storms. So a big worry.
Thomas, thanks for now. I think we're expecting it to hit landfall around about midday our time, so we'll keep an eye on things throughout the morning here on Sky News. And we can just show you again, excuse me, the latest live picture from Jamaica, just to give you a sense. Look, that almost looks like the calm before the storm there. When we spoke to Kwame earlier on, the rain was coming down, as you can see on that image. You look at that tree and, yeah, sure, the wind is blowing, but you'd expect winds of north of 150, 175 miles an hour to knock things like that over. And, of course, as I said earlier, it's the middle of the night there at the moment. No sign with those waves that there is any sort of storm surge for the time being. Let's bring it back to the